well, have a good time.
Thanks, Gabe.
Bye.
Hey, everybody.
What's going on, everyone?
How's it going? Thank you for joining us here with Heid Music. My name is Aaron. I'm one of the boss channel specialists. And I have Austin Sandick, who's also one of the channel specialists.
What's up, everyone?
What's happening? Austin, thanks for joining us here, too, as well.
Thanks for having me.
Everyone, all right, so we already got questions about the music. Our opening music is actually Austin's band, Dara. Very, very cool band. Definitely worth checking out. I think you guys even put out a new video today, too, right?
Yeah, actually, the video is for the song you just heard, and my drummer did it all by himself on CGI, and it's pretty amazing. So I would definitely recommend going and checking it out. DHARA.
So yeah, so if you guys are looking at his band is Dara. You guys, thank you for joining us here. Again, I want to thank Heid Music for letting us come on and talk about our gear. Today, Austin and I are going to go over the different types of loopers that we have, and obviously, Boss makes quite a few of them. So we thought we'd start out with some of the simpler ones, and maybe as we move up to the slightly more complex ones, as well as the newer ones that we just have released within the last few months. So. We thought we'd start out though, and talk a little bit about how to loop. I think that's one of the biggest challenges I think that people have when using a looper is that they're not sure how to actually make a seamless loop. So let's start out with that, and I'm going to pull up my pedal board here so you can take a look. And really quick, realize that Heid Music has got a whole sale going on. If you check out in the comments, they've got all the information, or you can go either call Heid Music, or you can go to heidmusic.com as well. So check it out, though. There's some great sales going on right now. All right, so check it out. On the picture here, I've got the pedal board, and I've got an RC10R on my left, and then I have an RC1 on the right. The RC1 is our most basic looper that we have. It is basically a single track looper. It is cool in that it's got this little, if you take a look over here, it's got this little loop, which is like a little light that goes around. So I'll just hit it play so you can see it for a second. So it actually is going to play, and it actually gives me some indication of what's going on with my loop. It actually shows me when I'm recording, it's in red. And if I hit it again, it'll go into either overdub or playback mode. Right now I have it set up for playback mode, so it goes to green. And then if I go to overdub mode, you'll see it light up red and and kind of a yellow, red, green, yellow thing. So it's got a mix of colors going on here. And basically it's going to indicate where I'm at in my loop. So as you see it spinning around, it actually tells me, kind of gives me a guide as to what my loop is doing. So to operate, most loopers, they operate in this manner. You basically have the first time that you step on the pedal, it'll actually go into record mode, right? The second time you push the pedal, it'll either go into playback mode or into an overdub mode. So I hit it again, and you see it'll turn green for mine right now, but it's in playback mode. And we'll show you how you can switch this on the RC1 too. But basically it's in playback. If I hit it again, it'll go into my overdub mode, and I can layer over stuff over the top of it, right? And if I want to stop the whole loop itself, basically you double tap, and that stops everything. Most loopers work this way. Not even just ours, just obviously our loopers do this, but other ones as well. So just a basic understanding. So remember, it's going to be record, either playback or overdub, and then double tap to stop. So one of the hard parts for people when they're looping is that they don't know how to loop a seamless loop. So let's say I'm going to record this part, right? And what happens is, here's my guitar. Really quick, anyone curious, I'm running a Paul Reed Smith McCarty 594 through the pedals and then into a Next Tone special Boss amplifier, and set for clean tone. So when I'm looping, right? So if I want to create a seamless loop, so one of the problems that you'll see people do is they'll do this. They'll start out, they'll hit on the pedal, right? And they'll start the pedal, and then they'll start playing. And what will end up happening is you've got this blank spot at the beginning of your loop. And usually at that point, I'll usually get a call from somebody going, hey, my pedal's broken. There's something wrong with it. It's not recording me correctly. And in actuality, what you want to do is you need to actually, when you're you need to count yourself in. So you're going to come in on 1 and you're going to go out on 1. So I'm actually going to start playing my guitar and hit the pedal on 1. So if I count myself and be 1, 2, 3, 4 on 1, start playing, hit the pedal. Same thing on the way out of the loop. I need to close the loop out. And at that point, what I want to do is I'm going to count myself out. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And on 1, basically, I'm going to push the pedal to close the loop out. And I'm going to give you an example of that. So I'll just do super basic. I'm just going to hit a E major chord, and I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. So I count myself in. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now the loop is looping over and over again seamlessly. Double tap to stop. Hold it down to clear. So if you want to do it with a little bit more complex, rhythm, so I get 1, 2, 3, 4. Play over it. Yeah. But that's kind of basically a basic kind of understanding. So remember, you got to come in on one. So you're going to start playing, and you're going to start the actual step on the pedal to start the loop, and then the same thing you're going to count. So if you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, start playing 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to push the pedal again on the way out on 1. Hope that makes sense. Well, we're going to show you a different way too here. Austin's got a RC5, which is our other pedal that we have. And we can try doing that one as well to show you a different way of doing it, because you can use it with a drum machine that's built in. So realize with the RC1, it's just a single track looper. You can save whatever the last recording you've made, it'll save it for you, but there's no memories or anything else like that. And it's the most basic looper we have. It is stereo in and out, which is great for, you can use it for keyboards and for, for other instruments other than just guitar. But it is for guitar players, it's kind of our entry level one. So it's the one we usually recommend. And quite funny enough is I think Austin and I, even when we're going out to shows and demoing and stuff like that, I think we almost always have a RC1 on hand with us. It's just it's an easy one for us to make loops and add extra fun for us when we're jamming or trying to demonstrate something. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those must-haves on the board for us when we're going around doing demos and stuff. But real quickly, just to show you, because Aaron, your display actually can change as well as the recording order. And I just wanted to show everyone how to get into this menu real quick. So right now I got an RC1 right here. It's powered on. It's just a dummy cable, and I got a little battery here. But what you're going to do in order to change the record order or the display, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to power it off, right? And you're going to want to hold down on the pedal simultaneously while you power it on or plug it in. And now we're kind of brought to this half circle menu, and red is going to be the recording order. So basically, if red is on the bottom, playback is going to be first. To change it, I just double tap twice. And if red is on top, that means overdub is going to come first. And there's a couple of other features too. If you press once, it goes to green. Green is going to change the actual display. So if it's on top, it'll just be a countdown wheel all the way down. Or if it's on the bottom, then it'll do the action like you just saw Aaron's video do, where it has like a big wheel thing and then click, big wheel and then click. Just to kind of show you how to get into the menu to change a couple of those things, because yeah, it might actually come out of the box like that. So again, press and hold, plug it in, and then you're pretty much in the menu. When you're done, all you do is just unpower it and then just plug it in like normal, and then you basically have your display there. So really, really cool.
Thank you for that. But that's a good one for a lot of people, and realize that how it's done. Like people will do different setups for how they want to play. Some people like to go straight into overdub mode. Other people like to go into playback mode. I tend to like to go into playback mode because I'm usually after my first loop, I'm like, whew, okay, I got it.
Same here, and I've been doing it for years.
Yeah, but the pros that are out there, I see them. They like to go straight into overdub mode. But they're going to usually the reason why you would want to do that is because it's basically you can cut down the amount of time that you're listening to the loop repeat over and over again if you're not adding a second part or another part to something. So let's go on. So the basics on the RC1, you can overdub over that on top of that. So if like real quick, let me do this one more time. So count yourself in, right? Let me clear this out real quick. So let's say I'm going to count myself in here on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's looping, right? I can add another part in, overdub. Jam over it. Add another part. And you do that for days.
Yeah, you can keep going on and on and on with overdubs and stuff like that, and that's actually in all of our loopers. All of our loopers can do that.
And it's a 12-minute, basically 12-minute loop on the RC1. So now Austin has the RC5, which we just came out with a few months ago. One of the cool things with that one is that we actually stepped up the audio quality on it too. So it actually is running at a higher bit rate, which is very cool. So you get more clarity on that. And then let's pull up a picture of Austin's pedal board here. We can, or Boston.
Yep. So I got a little pedal board set up here. So I have the RC5 here, and I have a 500, and I'll show you a little bit once we get into the 500 what the switching system above is for, and the expression pedal too. But right now, signal wise, I got PRS Custom 22. Me and Aaron are big PRS fans, so yeah, love the guitars. This is then going into a GT1000 multi-effects, so I'm running stereo out of that directly into the stereo in on the RC5 here. And what I've done with the RC5 as far as the rhythm goes, because the rhythm is really expanded in this, you actually have like 57 different rhythms along with like a couple different drum kits you can change those sounds to. But what I actually have done to it is that if I press the foot pedal once, it's going to start the rhythm, but it's not going to be recording any of my guitar until I press that button again to actually record. So for those that are like kind of like still feeling that internal metronome, trying to like get the downbeat of one and then close on the downbeat of one, this kind of actually helps you out, because then you can get a feel for the groove of the drums, and then you press into right on the downbeat of one, and then you just have to make sure to close yourself out. So I'll go ahead and just demo that for you real quick. So right now it's just playing the drums, right? Isn't even recording any of my guitar stuff, right? Here's my guitar tone. Until I push the foot switch again. So I'm gonna go ahead and push it again, and I'll lay down a track. And I can, of course, lay an overdub right on top of this. And if I want to, I can just play right on top of that. So again, it's a really, really fun way to kind of like get the rhythms engaged and kind of going. But obviously you can change a bunch of other stuff about it. It does work like a normal looper if you want. So if I went to like another memory slot here and I wanted to use it just like an RC1, let's say, right? So I can go ahead and just, you know, press record. And again, you can continue on that realm for days. The other fun thing about the RC5 is that it has a reverse function inside of it. So I don't have a foot switch to control this right now, but what I can do is I can basically make a loop, and then I'm going to go into the menu set and go ahead and reverse the track for you. So let's go ahead and make another loop then. So now reverse is on. You can also tie this to a foot switch and turn it on and off too. Me and Aaron actually did just make a couple of tutorial videos about the RC5, specifically going over the controls. So you can check those out on Rolling Product Support. But the cool feature about the reverse function is that if the initial layer is in reverse, right, which is what's happening now, if I lay another track on top of it like an overdub, right? So I'm going to leave this menu. I'm going to lay down an overdub and make it kind of a pretty weird sounding here. Now what happens is when I go back to normal mode, right, if I take the reverse off, now the overdub is reversed. So this is just another way that, like, you know, you can definitely have a lot of fun just going on and on and on for the reverse function and stuff, and just laying down like really cool overdubs and everything. I mean, top that along with the rhythm guide and everything in there. And again, the rhythm guide you can change to different time signatures. You can change it to a bunch of different things. The RC5 also has MIDI on it. I'm currently not using it right now, but if I was going to be using it, yeah, I'd probably be using the MIDI on it as well. Because again, tempo and rhythm stuff you can control. It's got 100 memory slots to save your own spots too. Again, a little bit different than the RC one where it's very, very basic. This gets a little bit more into, you know, I have like hundreds of good ideas. I want to save them and be able to replay them at band practice, or I want to play and do a solo thing and actually have the rhythms accompany the instruments that I plug into it. So again, really, really, really cool pedal. And again, it's stereo in and out, so it's not just for guitar instruments. You can use it with keyboards or any sort of thing with a mixer. Battery powered. And again, I really, really like the display on this a lot because the entire bar system pretty much like lights up in front of you and gives you an indicator of the beat. So again, really, really rhythmically driven with the RC5 for sure.
Yeah, it was cool advancements that they did with the RC5 over their previous model, which was the RC3. Really, the screen and the way that you access the menus, it's very easy to see everything. It's basically each button has its own little menu, so it's easy to go into because you just push that button and you're in it. We got a couple of questions really quick. Dean, sorry, I'm guitarist in tune, hopefully now. Bruce McLeod, he had a great question here. He goes, he's got the ME80. And it has a looper built into it. What would be the benefits for him if he wanted to jump to an individual looper? And I think depending on what you want to do, like, I mean, for the most part, like one of the reasons why we have loopers in so many of our products, or small basic ones, is that for a lot of people, you're just using it to jam over like a chord change or practice. Like I might play a G chord and then jam over it with different scales and stuff, or vice versa. I might play a melody and change up the chords that are going on under it. And so you have the opportunity for, when you step up to a bigger looper, you're getting more time is usually one of the first things that you're going to get. So, if you're trying to do like a 12-bar blues, type of thing, usually you're probably going to run out of time on most of the short loopers that we have built into a lot of our products, like the ME80 or the GT100, GT1000. So having that longer time, you can do a song maybe that you're more excited about. And it depends on how people use loopers differently. Actually, I was going to show you somebody. Check this out. So this is something. Clear this out. I'm going to turn on I have an Octave OC5 here. Let me pull up my pedal board here so you can take a look at this. So here's so we would, prior to this, we've been doing it where we strum a whole rhythm section, right? And we're just playing a rhythm part, and backing that up, right? One of the things I've seen that people do that's kind of cool is they'll actually do like some type of little motif, right? And they'll loop that part instead. So it'll be like something like 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're recording this part, right? And then what they'll do is they'll actually play the bass line under it. they'll do something like that. Well, they'll reverse it, and then you'll actually have just a simple, really simple loop that you're recording, or, a little motif. When you're doing that, like I said, the simple loopers that you find in the ME80, you might be fine for what you're doing. But if you're trying to do like 12-bar blues where you actually have to have a longer time, you're probably going to want a looper like the RC1 or the RC5 in order to do that. Obviously, the other step up when you jump to the RC5 is you're going to get an entire rhythm section that you get to play with, which is a huge one, as well as, again, stuff like the reverse function and the ability to control. You can add foot switches to the RC5 to control different things like like actually bring in parts and rhythms and change rhythms and stuff like that, which is, so much more. As far as the looping side, the main thing you're going to get is the time, but then you've got all the other function of the rhythm side that you get to, the benefit of as well.
Yeah, no, totally. I would definitely say stepping up, you definitely get memory save, you get a longer loop time, you also get better visual indicators, because usually the indicator on the ME80 is just kind of like a blinking light, and then like a really fast blinking light, and then a solid light for like, when you have a track going and stuff. And the looper also in the ME80 does sacrifice most of the delay algorithms in that section when you're using the looper. So if you want to have fun with tape delay, but also make a loop, then you would need like an external looper. Right. For something like that, for sure.
Exactly. It's a good another good thing to think about when you're
just specifically for the ME80 side.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the other part too that's really a lot of fun when you get into looping, like when you have the RC5 where you have memory slots, you can actually save different parts, so you don't have to actually recreate the loop every time you are trying to work on something. So like I said, I might when I practice, for me, and for Austin too as well, looping, having a looper to loop a few chord changes to practice over is a huge thing, because you can sit there and practice your scales, your arpeggios, your whatever you want to do. And one of the cool parts about that, though, is that being able to save all the different spots. So I might have a G minor chord, or might have a 2-5-1 thing going, or 1-4-5, and I have different chord changes that I've saved, and I can just go back to them and practice them, practice over them over and over again. I don't have to recreate the loop every time, and that part's kind of cool.
Yeah, that part was always cool for me in the RC3s, because I used to bring those around for students, and I used to show them different chord progressions and stuff without having to be like, wait, where's this in your lesson book or something like that? Oh, wait, let's go to loop 7 and it'll play the 2-5-1 jazz progression we've been working on. And to answer Joshua here, it says, we mentioned that the RC5 is a rhythm section. Does the RC5 generate bass as well as drums? It does not generate bass. It's just rhythm section. But the cool part is that there actually are 4 parts inside of the RC5's rhythm section. So all of the elements of the drums are actually separated. So you can actually turn these on and off willingly, like the kick drum or the snare or the extra crashes or the hi-hat or something like that. So the rhythm section definitely is super advanced as far as like a rhythm section built into natively a looper. But the bass part, like Aaron's doing, you can get yourself a nice octave pedal and come up with your own bass lines. So really, really cool there.
Yeah, I kind of there are other pedals out there that do the bassline thing. Personally, myself, would doing that, I've had a challenge just getting the bassline to follow like what I want it to do. Yes. It's one of those things where it's like, if my bass player played like that, I probably have to let him go.
For sure. I'm like, who hired that guy?
Yeah. But for some people it works great. So it's awesome. So if that's what you need, then, definitely check something like that out. So Barry's got an RC30. What are some unique tricks to try on the RC30?
Ooh, well, the loop effects are really cool on the RC30. Like the bend down effect is like kind of like if you ever played a vinyl record and then just hit the stop button and let the record slow down, it has that kind of effect. The lo-fi effects are cool, as well as the memory slots. The fact that it has its own input mixer, which is really cool. So like the 1/4 inch, the 1/8 inch, and the XLR all go into the different tracks. So the cool thing is you can expand with a couple of different instruments if you're into the multi-instrumental thing. And also with the RC30, since you do have 2 tracks, I would definitely experiment with like maybe like what Aaron was saying, like start off with a motif on one track. And then, on the next track, you can do like your bass line and your root chords and stuff and have it be like, longer than the first track, which is really, really cool about the RC500 that we'll get into in a little bit. and you can basically like kind of build your song off of that. So when you want to start singing maybe or start looping your voice, you can basically stop the starting track or the motif, and you can let the rhythm section do its own thing. So I'd maybe like try experimenting with the 2-track thing because it's really, really cool.
You could check it. If you're in Barry, I don't know if you're singing or not, but if you sing, obviously the it opens up a whole bunch of possibilities and creativity for singers being able to like harmonize their vocal parts and stuff like that with a looper. I'll see people with an RC30. What they'll do is they'll actually record their loop, right, and then they'll actually put, before they start that, they might actually do some type of vocal harmony motif that they've got going on, and then they'll wait until they'll start out the song maybe with that, they'll stop it, play through with their loop and their jamming, and then in the middle of the their section they bring that part back in, and it basically kind of lifts the song up and elevates the loop by doing that. Very, very creative stuff. People to check out some of our artists that we use. You can check out Kelly Morris is one that does a bunch of looping with the RC505. John Allen as well is another one. You can check out where they're using vocals and instruments together, in a combination. But yeah, overall, the RC30 is really cool. I mean, we have definitely one of our longest running loopers. We just finally upgraded that to the RC500. But prior to that, it was ran for a good almost 10 years, I think.
Yeah, I ran for a long time.
Yeah, great one, and it's a great looping pedal. Its main thing with the RC30 is you got 2 tracks, so you can have different parts going at and bring them in and out at different times, which is very cool.
100%. And speaking of rhythms and expanding rhythms, Aaron, you want to walk us through the other looper on your pedal board?
Yeah, so I've got also an RC10R. Let me pull it up here on the screen so you guys can see that. So the RC10R is this guy over here on the bigger one. And so the RC10R is a little bit different than how we've done our looping before. On this one, usually with most of our loopers, the way we set it up, even when it's a multi-track looper, they're kind of designed to be 2 loops, basically, or 2 tracks running in parallel. So they're basically playing at the same time. This part is, it's like I said, that's the part where you can bring in parts and everything's running parallel. You can add in or subtract out that part, to basically thicken up or, thin out the sound. With the RC10R, we decided to do it a little bit differently, where it actually works in a verse chorus format. So it actually goes from a verse section over to a chorus section. On top of that, we've actually added into a whole really robust rhythm section where I can actually go in, and while I'm playing while the drum part is playing, I can actually pop in a rhythmic fill or, drum fill basically as I'm playing along. So really quickly, let me show you this real quick. So one of the things on this unit is that you have, different types of rhythms and stuff, right? And so by default, what you'll see on the pedal when you first turn to a blank spot is that you will see that the lights here over here are in green, right? And basically what this does is it separates out the rhythm section from the loop section, so they're not going to start playing at the same time, right? So if I hit play, you'll hear my drums come in. And as you notice here, the looper hasn't started up yet, right? And the reason why they started it out this way is so that I can now go through the drums and listen to them. So I can go down. I can find a different rhythm, and once I find like a category I like, there's actually other options that I have within that category. So I'm in R&B right now. I can go to side stick. So what this is doing though is it allowing me to basically go through without starting the track to loop something. So check this out. So again, too, as I'm playing this rhythm, right, the rhythm will play, comes in. If I hit this button here at any time, the rhythm button, it'll add a fill. And depending on where I hit it to in the loop, it'll actually it might be a different type of fill. So it's got a couple different variations in there. And every time I hit it, it'll do that, right? Very, very, very cool. It's a lot of fun to to have that as just to fill out, give you a little bit more of a robust sound when you're playing instead of just playing to a straight kind of a basic beat. With the original loopers that we had, like the 3 and with the 32, they only had about 10 rhythms. This one has a couple hundred of them basically built into it. So, and you have the ability to actually load your own MIDI files if you want to as well. So the start out. So remember that. So when you first get the looper, if you get an RC10R, realize that the loop section for for my instrument is separated out from the rhythm section. So if you go to a blank loop, and I want to make it so that I can sync the two together, right? I'm going to hold this button down, the rhythm section, right? And hold it down for a couple seconds, and you'll see it will now turn blue. And once everything is in blue, then my track is actually synced to my rhythm section. So if I play something, right? There, I got a bass line going in here. So I'll start off, it'll give you, and actually will count me in. So I don't actually have to start this loop to actually make it activate. It'll count it in basically on, and after the 4th count, it will actually start the loop for me. So check it out. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I want, I can add in a fill. Add in a fill. Add in a fill, right? Now, if I want to, I can now go to another part, right? So I can actually go to a second part, or my chorus section. And if I hold this down for a couple seconds, it'll automatically jump for that for me. So watch this. Go through, play it, right? I'm going to switch over. And now it's looping the second part. If I want, I can go add a fill in here too. Right? I can add a second part, And if I want, go back to the original part. Hold this down. I can play over this one. And then when I'm ready to go out, it'll actually, if I double tap, it'll end me and gives me a little fill to come out with. So very, very cool. A lot of fun. Probably my favorite looper of the ones that we have for jamming and practicing with, and doing the song type stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's probably one of and the fact that the rhythm section is engaging, like you can kind of control the drummer as you're kind of like looping or coming up with ideas. And the fact that there's like hundreds of different rhythms and then you can make your own is like, it's basically a one-man band machine, to say the least. Yeah,
very, very cool. A couple other things too. Again, the rhythm sections that are in there, you can add foot switches and stuff where you can turn on and off different parts of it too as well. And then the really cool thing I like about the RC10R for more realistic drums is that you actually can split out the loop that I'm playing, basically, which is what I'm doing, and I can split out the drum section to a separate basically output. So that I can run my drums, which I'm doing, directly into my my mixer, instead of having it my drums go through my guitar amplifier. It does sound okay when you do it, and we have some stuff for compensating for running through an amp. But really, if you listen to the drums through straight up through a PA, they sound amazing. It's very, very hyper realistic and very natural sounding.
100%. And if you're interested in getting any of these Boss loopers to go along with your pedal board and experience some of the fun stuff that we've been going over, you can definitely check out Heid Music.
Yeah.
And go check out some of the Boss looper inventory. Would be really, really cool to add these to your rig. Going back into some questions here. I'm seeing that Dean's asking if the looper. Dean. So he does appreciate your looping skills now that you're in tune. Aaron. So Dean, thank you for the kind words.
Yeah. Hey, I keep
and
catching this guitar or the headphone cable on my tuner.
And Randall's asking if the loop time can be modded in the ME80. Unfortunately, it can't currently. So again, all the more reason to go for like an RC1 or an RC5, or I hope Aaron's performance enticed you into the RC10R.
Like I said, I love it because I'm, from a verse chorus perspective, to me, that's a great way. Even when I had like the bigger unit, like our RC300, you would use it in that kind of a manner, just because it's more, how you would use, for in a song, so.
Right, exactly. And kind of wrapping up on the loopers here, I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera, and I'm going to pull up
RC500.
Yes, this thing is super, super fun. So going over it real quick, real basics, right? So again, signal flow, if you weren't here before, if you're just tuning in, got PRS Custom 22 going into the input of a GT1000 multi-effects, GT1000 stereo out into the RC5 stereo into the RC500, and then RC500 out into the audio interface to hit all of your ears. And then, as I said before, I did want to go over the purpose of this little ES5 I have along the top, as long as the expression pedal. So the cool thing about our new loopers, right, like the RC5 and the 500, they have MIDI in capabilities and MIDI out capabilities as well. So you can add things like foot switches and expression pedals in terms of MIDI to control everything inside of these pedals. So right now the MIDI is only hooked up to the 500. So I have two master buttons, right? So one master button, number 4, is actually going to turn on and off my rhythm section, right? And then button number 5 is actually going to determine the tempo of the rhythm section. Right, so those are two very useful controls, and this is spread across 3 patches that I have. So patch number 1 goes to memory location number 1, patch number 2 goes to memory location number 2, and patch number 3 goes to memory location number 3. So this is a really, really nice way to organize everything, especially with the newer interfaces inside of these loopers. And then the expression pedal, which I'll show you in the one of my recordings, is actually controlling some of the loop effects that are built into it. So there's a very long list of loop effects that you can tie to the 2 tracks that are in here. So I can use things like scatter or beat repeats. I also have vinyl flick as well as beat shifts and stuff like that. And these are all kind of stemming from some of the rhythmic effects from our Roland era products. You can actually find scatter on the TR8 as well as some of the other groove boxes, which is really cool that they're sharing technology there. But to kind of show you a little bit of the basics, right? So right now I'm only running 1/4 inch, but there is an XLR input on it, and it is phantom powered, so you can use a microphone if you are a singer. You can use that, but I'll spare you my voice and just let the guitar do all the talking for me today. And running stereo out, and I got the expression pedal hooked up. So to show you basics of how it works once you get it out of the box, right? So you popped it out of the box on the floor, turned it on, you got this big menu, right? So button on the right is going to record and play back whatever track I'm on. So right now you see that the little blue LED underneath track 1 is blinking, which means I am recording to track 1. The next button is actually going to act as a stop and a clear button. So whatever track I'm on is going to stop and clear that track. And then this button, the red one on the right, is actually switching between the tracks. So red is track 1 and blue is track 2. So if I wanted to, let's say, play a bass line on top of a drum beat on the first track, and then in the second track I want to add some rhythm guitars and stuff, we can basically do that. So here we go, super basic operation. So I'll turn on some drums just to get the rhythm going, maybe slow that down a little bit. There we go. All right, so let's make a groove. All right, gonna switch over to track 2, lay down some rhythm guitar. So notice that I actually played that rhythm guitar for a pretty long time. So what that means is that the tracks are actually separated in terms of in terms of their length. So I can actually have one track be longer than the other one, which is really, really cool. So now if I wanted to, let's say, just solo on top of the bass line. So again, endless hours of fun with the RC500, especially when you're incorporating the rhythms in the two tracks. Again, you don't have to use the built-in rhythms when you're recording to two tracks. It's just there, and it's super, super expanded. Again, 57 rhythms in this, along with 16 different kits inside of the RC 500. So now moving on to the second part of my demo and actually using the expression pedal. So the other really, really cool thing that I like about the RC 500 is that it has these really cool built-in loop effects. And I don't know if you also noticed, but on the bottom of my looper here, the LEDs actually changed. So if I go to track 1 here, rhythm 1, right, I have all 3 LEDs on. Go to memory 2, I don't have all 3 LEDs on. And this is one of the other things that's cool is you can change the foot switch layout of the RC 500, excuse me. So right now, this button is actually the record, play, overdub, stop, and clear button. So this actually works very similarly to pretty much all of our loopers, right? From RC5 to the 1 to the et cetera, the 30. And then the stop button I've actually made to switch between my two tracks. So again, blue being track 2, red being track 1. And the track select button I actually changed to be a reverse function of whatever track is on. So basically, in that, I'm going to go ahead and lay down a nice loop for you and add a little bit of rhythm. So let's get it started. As you're kind of hearing, right, you're hearing this weird glitching thing happening. It actually happens on the second track. It's actually called a scatter effect. And the expression pedal is changing the rhythmic value cut of that scatter effect. Now I can actually turn on the reverse if I want to. And actually, let's lay down an overdub on top of that since the last feature I showed you before, right? And I can also stop the rhythm if I wanted to as well. So really, really cool. Again, this is probably one of my favorites in terms of like the super expanded stuff that you can do with the RC 500. Again, really, really great product to check out. I have a lot of fun with it. I hope you had a lot of fun watching me do it. And I hope this entices you to go try one out for yourself.
All right, we got some questions here. So I recently bought an RC 500. It says, can I create a 2-bar loop on track 1 and then switch to track 2 and create an 8-bar loop that contains track 1 looped 4 times? Yes,
you can.
You would have to record the what you did. You'd have to repeat what you did on track 1, basically. And then you'd basically play that out for 8 bars, and then it would, be the 8-bar loop on one and then 2-bar loop on the other.
Yeah, I was kind of actually demoing that for you because I made a I think a 2-bar phrase or a 4-bar phrase, and then I made another rhythm on track 2 where I think it was like a 16-bar phrase or something like that, where I was playing chords on top of the ostinato bass on top of the ostinato theme. So between the 2 tracks, yeah, you can actually do that and have one be a certain length and another one be another length, and it'll just loop over and over and over again. The thing you just want to watch out for is you just want to make sure that you're in time. So again, starting out super, super basic, always the downbeat of 1 is your friend. It applies to all of the loopers. And yeah, the RC 500 does have that ability. Great question, though.
Here's a good one for you, Austin. Do your shoes match your chair?
Actually, the other question now is which one came first, the shoes or the chair? To answer the question, yeah, they actually do. Boss blue colors, man.
Blue colors, right? Yeah. Okay, and then we had a couple of questions. This is an interesting one. Josh Gordis, he asked if the RC10R can you store multiple songs? Yes, you can. You actually have 99 slots that you can save songs to. If that's not enough, you can actually offload those to your computer if you want to, and then re-upload new ones if you want. So you can have like an entire 99 song set, pull it off of there, put another 99 song set, from your laptop basically or your computer. But yeah, 99 slots that you can play through. And a lot of the length on the hours, it's like many hours of recording that you can do with an RC10R2. It's crazy. Randall Sequeira asked, Ed Sheeran's looper, where can I get it? The Chewy Monster is a custom made thing that actually he had to build himself. Boss usually doesn't do anything custom. And it confuses people because Ed was a big fan of the RC30's foot switches. So he likes the feel of the foot switches. So if you actually look at his Chewy Monster, it actually has RC30 foot pedals on the front of it. So it confuses because people think it's because they see that it's just our pedals are such a signature look. It looks like it's a Boss pedal of some sort, but it's actually a completely custom made thing. And he's actually running some type of a recording DAW, like Ableton, I think, or something like that, in there. So it's actually, even though it looks like a pedal board, it's a gigantic computer system that he's got plugged in.
Yeah, pretty advanced. But he did start off on a Boss RC30. Actually, in certain recordings, I think it might be an RC20, and then he upgraded to a 30, maybe a couple of years later.
And then I saw him on like Ellen or something like that. He was using an RC300 for a bit, and that's shortly after that's when he jumped up to the Chewy Monster thing that he has now. What else? We got another question.
RC300 discontinued, RC500 the next model. It is not discontinued. The RC300 is still out there. Yeah. The 500 is basically replacing the RC30 because it's a 2-track looper replacing another 2-track looper with more foot switches and all of the fun stuff that I just demoed for you.
And then we had a question about what happened to the RC50. The RC50 basically was replaced by the RC300. It was basically, so it just got phased out after a while. Did anyone having success multiple RC50s together to get more tracks? That is a good question. I don't know on the 50 if that was ever something that was able to happen. On the 300, you can. Obviously, they switched it up on the 300 where you can sync the 2 of them together. But on the 50, I don't think they were able to make that happen.
Yeah, I think it did have MIDI capabilities though. So you could slave like stuff to it, like a drum machine or like any other sort of hardware piece. But I don't know if a 50 could have relied.
Yeah, people were like, the 300 that was a response to that, where a lot of people were they wanted more loops basically, so they were trying to put the 50 multiple 50s together type of thing. And with the 300, they did do that. They make it so you can run 2 of them together at the same time. Let's see. Well, that's definitely some good questions. Really quick too. I want to, remind everybody, Heid Music's got a great sale going on right now. Check that out in the comments for all the information and promo codes. You also give them a call, or you can visit them at heidmusic.com. And it's, I believe, for all the stores that are in the chain. So definitely worth checking out if you're looking to purchase anything, not just our stuff, but anything. I think definitely worth hitting them up.
Yeah, definitely a great story, and definitely really, really cool to be doing this for all you guys and through Heid Music, which is awesome.
Yeah, and again, we want to thank Heid Music for letting us come on and just talk about loopers and gear. I mean, Austin and I love to do this. This is our favorite thing to do, is actually come online and talk to people about the gear and show them how to use it. So thank everybody that's out there for hanging in there and listening with us and checking this out. We very much appreciate your time for that. It's very, very, very cool of you to come hang out with us for a little bit and talk about gear and geek out.
Yeah, because what do guitar players love more than geeking out about gear, right?
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Well, cool. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you, Heid Music, for putting on this thing for us. Thanks, Aaron, for doing all the demos. Your demo sounded great. Thanks for
you too, man. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, thanks for checking out some
Hopefully
stuff.
That information was helpful. Yeah, remember the main thing if you're a beginner looper, remember you want to come in on the 1 and go out on 1. So you're going to start playing and hit the switch on 1, and you're going to stop playing and hit the switch on 1 on the way out. And that will give you a seamless loop so that you can record and jam over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Austin, you want to jam us out?
Absolutely. And once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
Any other questions too? Leave them in the comments, and Austin and I will be jumping in to follow up and make sure everyone's questions got answered. So,
100%.
Appreciate it. Again, thanks to Heid Music. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys letting us come on and talk gear.
And loop on.
Yeah.